Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I'm Jano Lieber, MTA Chair and CEO. I'm here with Demetrius Critchlow, the President of New York City Transit, Jamie Torres-Springer, who's the President of MTA Construction Development, and, as always, Chief Accessibility Officer Quamel Arroyo. I want to acknowledge a couple of elected officials who are joining us, and a great friend of transit, Senator Kristen Gonzalez. Thank you for being with us. Julie Wan, who's the local council member, will be here momentarily. And I also have to acknowledge, and there'll be always a lot of background noise as the system continues to run, the transit advocates who join us for many of these events, and the head of the PCAC, one of our main advocacy organizations, Lisa Daglin, who actually lives near the station. So Lisa is celebrating today greatly. Listen, today we're here at Queensboro Plaza to celebrate the sixth station that we have opened with new full accessibility features at Queensboro in the system. This is a key connection for almost 100,000 daily riders. And kudos to Jamie and the team at MTA Construction Development and all those amazing workers from the, thank you, let's give them a hand, from the MTA and the contractors and consultants who got it done. You know, in the last couple of years, the MTA Construction Development has emerged as perhaps the premier infrastructure developer in the region. And one proof point is that we are doing these ADA projects 5 times as fast as the MTA used to do them. We are knocking them out one after another, and getting them done on time, on budget is one of the principal things I'm proudest of in my time as MTA Chair and CEO. This station is a great example of that incredible effort. The station's almost 110 years old. It's located at the center of an incredibly busy, dense neighborhood. There are 11 lanes of traffic underneath. Oh my God. And working around all of that is an incredible challenge in a complex, elevated environment, but not going to intimidate the MTA, and we got it done. Why? Because we are determined to make good on the commitment that we at the MTA have made and that all New Yorkers should embrace, that every station in the system needs to be accessible. That means not just people with disabilities. It means parents with strollers, people who are moving around with a shopping cart so they can do their shopping. Not everybody owns a car to go to Costco, and everybody should have the ability to use this amazing mass transit system that we've got. And not to mention the fact that we're pretty close to the airports, and there are all kinds of tourists with luggage, and some of them come to stay in Queens. We love that, and they too need to be able to use the system. Listen, it's not just the 6 stations that we've opened this year. We've got 36 stations in construction right now in this battle to make the system fully accessible. Now listen, part of the reason that we're able to do all this is that we have had great partners in Washington. The feds, thank you Chuck Schumer, thank you Hakeem Jeffries. The feds have contributed more than $74 million to this project. And under President Biden and FTA head Veronica Vanderpool, we've been getting a lot of cooperations. New York City government is also part of this story, however. They deserve a shout out. We are going to get another accessible entrance in this station through the Zoning for Accessibility program, which we developed with the Department of City Planning of the City of New York, and which the New York City Council passed. And when the council member joins us, I'm going to give her an extra thank you for that. So as I said, not too long from now, on the north side of this station, we're going to be getting another entrance that's paid what? Another elevator that is paid for by the developer, no cost to the public. That zoning for accessibility program is a huge success. So bottom line, the more accessibility, the better. We at the MTA are going to keep fighting every step of the way in this battle to make our system accessible. And with that, let me turn it over to the guy who's building all these stations, Jamie Turr-Springer, who will tell you not just about this station, but importantly, the next group of stations that we're going to be turning to, because we're moving on. We're getting so many done. We need a new batch. Jamie.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chair. This is a great day for riders at Queensboro Plaza and across the lines that converge here. And it's a great day for accessibility all across the city as we keep pace with our historic investment. More on that in a minute, including some breaking news about what's coming next. The work here at Queensboro Plaza is a great example of what it takes to make a century-old system accessible and how we're doing it better, faster, and cheaper. It's a lot more than the elevators. There are 2 elevators that we built here, but we expanded this mezzanine by 2,100 square feet, which will improve customer flow and make it easier to navigate at rush hour. At the platform levels, 2 platform levels at this station, we reconstructed the top slabs, the concrete slabs, to create the proper slope for wheelchair and mobility device users. We also added tactile strips, and we created raised ADA boarding areas. We rehabilitated one of the 2 pedestrian bridges crossing over Queens Boulevard above a busy intersection, and we upgraded the stairs. We replaced a bunch of stairs here to meet ADA standards. And as Jano mentioned, thanks to zoning for accessibility, Queensboro Plaza's getting another fully accessible entrance with an elevator next year, built, maintained, and paid for by the developer Grubb. So we get an even better facility at no cost to the MTA. And it's very clear here how this works. We have a very wide street. We have one street to mezzanine, to this level elevator that we constructed. We would have had to construct another one on the other side of Queens Boulevard were it not for this developer who was able to build it for us at no cost to the MTA. And that's really taking advantage of the economic activity happening in this city to get benefits for our customers. So we thank our customers for their patience as we made these improvements. I also want to share some updates on the progress of our ADA work across the system, especially in light of funding from the federal government, congestion pricing, and the next 2025 to 2029 capital plan, which is the reason we're able to make these transformative investments. First, next week, we will move to award our next package of ADA work to get us started on construction at 5 more stations to make them ADA accessible. This package moves forward with dedicated federal funding from the FTA and thanks to our great congressional delegation. These stations, Burnside Avenue on the 4 in the Bronx, Avenue I on the F, Myrtle Avenue on the JMZ, and Norwood Avenue on the J&Z in Brooklyn. That's 4 of them. The 5th station is a newcomer to the capital plan. We'll be adding, finally, Middletown Road on the 6 train in the Bronx and moving that long-awaited station into construction as well. Second, thanks to congestion pricing moving forward, we will soon advertise a contract for ADA upgrades at 3 more stations: Parsons Boulevard on the F, Briarwood on the E and the F in Queens, and another newly added station to the program, Gates Avenue on the J and Z in Brooklyn, which again is a long-awaited station. Big stretch of inaccessible stations on the J and Z in that section of Brooklyn, and we're taking action to take care of some of these difficult gaps in our system. And a reminder, we have another 20 accessible stations in addition to those 3 that are on the way in our current capital plan that are funded by congestion pricing. They'll be moving forward very soon. And then third, in our next capital plan, which our board approved in October, there are at least another 60 stations to be made ADA accessible. We will get to 50% of our 472 subway stations accessible in the next plan, serving more than 75% of our subway riders. Under Jano's leadership, the MTA has made a huge commitment to accessibility, and our funding partners in Albany and Washington have stepped in with us, and I think that's great evidence of that, all the work that's moving forward. Before we wrap up, I really have to thank there's a lot of players here within MTA C&D. Bill Montanili leads that business unit for us and is cranking out those stations. We have to applaud for a lot of important officials here. AJ Chilhan was our project CEO, and we have Vikram in oversight of that, getting work done across the system. And little known, and welcome Council Member Juan. Little known, but the person I think of as our expediter, Sam Afifi, who gets these projects. The reason that we're able to open these stations is the coordination she does with our colleagues, our contractors, our consultants every day. And of course, we got great work out of MLJ and TC Electric here with Modern Elevator and HNTB in oversight. So thanks to everyone who got this work done. Thank you for joining us. And it's my pleasure to turn it over to Demetrius Kriklo, President of New York City Transit. Thanks.
So everyone is extremely excited about where we are right now. I can tell you I'm pretty excited because Queens has been and is the world's capital for the Queensboro is where it's at. That's where transportation is. This location here, the platform where you can see the skyline of Manhattan from the platform, the Silver Cup movie emblem that sits across from the platform. Everyone knows it. What people don't know is the amount of people that benefit from this service. And so the fact that we're here focusing on accessibility shows a priority of this organization, shows the priorities that we see and how we want to move this organization forward. I can tell you that I have personal relationship with this location. I actually used to work down the block managing some of the capital resources, our work train and flaggers that were located down the block. And so I use this station on a daily basis, and I can tell you that the customers are going to benefit from the size of the mezzanine because the flow here is insane. The amount of people that go through this location is insane. They're going to benefit from the cameras that are in the station. They're going to benefit by the fact that there is more connectivity. And so that's what this game is really about. How can we make our system more effective to the people who use it most? And this station is a good example of the MTA's priorities and how we're putting that from the first place. So thank you all. Thank you for the chairman. And with that, I will turn it over to Kwamel Arroyo.
Thank you so much, Demetrius. You know, hearing the three of you talk makes me think I'm no longer needed here. This is amazing. I am so proud to be part of a team, a leadership team at the MTA that celebrates accessibility. This was not typical for the previous MTA. This is not how we used to talk about our riders. We are focusing on our highest needs because we understand that when you focus on your most vulnerable customers, everybody benefits. Especially one of my own team members who comes through this station daily and now will have a better commute as he goes over to connect with the LIR and to the airports and move around the city as an able-bodied person because accessibility is universal. So thank you, Jano, thank you, Jamie and Demetrius. It is very exciting to be here with all of you today, Senator and Councilwoman. A lot has already been said about the importance of this station. I just want to be on the record and say that all of our accessibility projects are equally important for me, and I love every single one of them. However, I do want to give particular accolades to Jamie and the team of construction here for building this entire new mezzanine extension directly above the extremely busy bridge, approach to accommodate the new platform elevators, which we are currently standing on. This is brand new space for this station. This is not something that you see at every station. And the elevators here, and soon those that will be added on the north side of Queensboro Plaza, thanks to CFA, as Jano said, allow for our customers to move through the station with ease of access. Not only customers with disabilities, customers with mobility needs like myself, but our aging adults whom we want to age with grace. And that means allowing them access to transportation, which is access to independence. Caregivers and parents with children in strollers and anyone who can't climb up the many stairs in this station for any given reason. I would not be able to use this station just a couple of weeks ago. And this builds on the recent work that we've done at Court Square on the G and 5 other stations we have coming to Western Queens as part of the current capital plan. I am excited to be announcing Gates Avenue on the J and the Z and Middletown Road on the 6 as newly named stations to be made accessible. We continue to be relentless in our push towards an accessible subway system. And I'm happy to also give some love to the Brooklyn and Bronx today. Thank you so much for that, Jamie. Unas cuantas palabras en español. Es un placer para estar aquí hoy abriendo esta nueva estación en Queensboro Plaza, una estación accesible para todo usuario aquí en la ciudad, no solamente para personas con discapacidad, pero para neoyorquinos envejecedores, turistas y padres y con familias con niños en coches. Es un gran honor traerle esta nueva estación para todos los neoyorquinos y un aprecio a Jano, a Jamie y Demetrius por hacer ese trabajo una realidad todos los días. Muchísimas gracias. Y ahora I will pass it over to the senator. Or
I just got to say, vamos, vamos, vamos. Vamos mejorar el sistema de tránsito en Nueva York. Way to go, Q. We love it. We love it. I interrupt this transmission to say we are blessed to have in this area and throughout the city elected officials who really are passionate about transit. It's one of the reasons that we're being able to get a lot more done in this era of the MTA. And one of the leaders is the senator here, Kristen Gonzalez.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. My name is Kristen Gonzalez. I'm the state senator here. And I just wanted to extend an incredible and large thank you to MTA leadership, especially Chair Jano Lieber, for the immense amount of work that's been put in making our MTA more accessible. I wanted to give a really big thank you and shout out to all of the workers here. Can we give them another round of applause for the work that they've been doing? And of course, our elected officials here and our advocates. You know, this is the result of years of organizing and advocating for a future for the MTA that works for everyone, for every single New Yorker, regardless of age, regardless of ability, regardless of status, all New Yorkers who deserve a fully functional and accessible MTA. And as you've heard, this station serves 100,000 New Yorkers a day. It's a lifeline for our community. And I will say, one of those New Yorkers who's in this station every day is myself. And representing Astoria, I was one of the New Yorkers who was walking up and having an aerobic exercise every single day from the street level all the way up to the N&W train just to travel across my district. Now, I welcome the exercise. I think that's great. But I certainly saw, constantly other neighbors who struggled to make that same trip. And so I don't want to, I don't want to leave without really emphasizing the real life impact something like accessibilities and elevators has, and how that will literally change the everyday experience of those 100,000 New Yorkers. So truly thank you to everyone who is part of this project. And then as a state level elected, we are excited to continue advocating for funding for the MTA. I think we've seen throughout our district, including the G-Train project, which happened on time, which happened with a lot of positive feedback from our constituents, we've continued to see this new MTA. And so every day, I think we're seeing our MTA deliver. It's why we want to continue advocating for increase in funding for our capital projects, an increase in accessibility, and continue working with the incredible advocates to make sure every station looks like this, along with our elected officials. And I certainly look forward to be an advocate in that process. So again, thank you all so much, and I can't wait to take my first elevator trip up from street to the NW. Thank you.
Good morning. It's so good to see you all. My name is Julie Won. I'm currently the council member representing Long Island City, Sunnyside, Woodside, and Astoria. Special thank you to the MTA, CEO Lieber, as well as Maria Torres, oh my gosh. Jamie Torres Springer, Jamie Torres Springer, and State Senator Kristen Gonzalez. It is an honor to stand here and thank you to Governor Hochul. We are truly blessed in this district because not only are we getting this truly accessible Queensboro Plaza elevator, but we are fully expecting and has gone into construction for the rest of 7 train in Sunnyside for Bliss and one more. And we look forward to being able to travel with accessibility because like we heard from our friend, the MTA Chief Accessibility Officer, This is truly life-changing. And I wouldn't be a Queens representative if I can't compete with a 7 train running above me. And for me, as a mom of 2, I had my second baby less than a year ago. And for me, if you can imagine, I am carrying my 2-year-old by hand, also a stroller, and a 9-month-old. It is quite a conundrum that most people cannot handle, even the most fit. But thankful to our kind neighbors, they always help me carry the stroller up 4 flights of stairs. That is a lot. And that is a change that you're making for people like us who need this elevator on the daily to make sure that we get our kids to school, to make sure that our children are safe, and also that we're able to get to work. It really changes our economy. It really gives accessibility and opportunity to all New Yorkers because the MTA and our public transit is the lifeblood of our city. Thank you so much.
So we have an amazing coalition that's brought this into being. You've heard from many, but I also just want to acknowledge a couple, Sally and Gary Birch, who come to this neighborhood to visit family and now can use this neighborhood as a connection to Manhattan and the rest of the city in a way that maybe wasn't available until this day. So thank you, and we want you to really get the benefit of what we're able to deliver for all New Yorkers, especially those who have some of the mobility issues that you're encountering. Thank you again for being here. Okay. Now we do the Q&A on topic.
Yeah, we'll start with on topic. How about Steve Nesson with WNYC The Gothamist?
Hi, guys. Sorry, this question may sound inconsiderate, but I've been standing here and this water has been dripping on us the whole time, and I know that it's a big challenge to do these kind of projects in these old stations. So I'm not just complaining about dripping water, but why is there water dripping in a newly renovated mezzanine, and what does that speak to the challenges that you face?
One of the challenges we face is reporter cynicism, but we'll put that aside for the moment, and I'll turn it over to Jamie Torres Springer.
Well, we have a huge system. The subway system is 472 stations. We have $1.5 trillion asset here that moves 5 million people a day. And you know what? Like any asset, like anybody's house or building, occasionally something small goes on. Somebody needs to find a wrench and tighten a pipe, and we do that. But the only reason we can do that is with funding to keep our system in a state of good repair, which is why our board has passed a $68 billion capital program for the next 5 years, that 90% of which is state of good repair for a 100-year-old system. So we need that plan to be funded. We need to move forward with it so that we can keep making these improvements across the system.
All right, anybody else on topic here? On topic? All right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a short break so that we can play. There's dozens of newsrooms they're watching, so that we can play a video of the elevators. All right, so you're going to see that coming through on the live stream feed. Then we're going to come back and do some other business. There may be a couple of off-topic questions. All right, stand by for the video.
Mezzanine.
right, folks, just want to make sure your dials are still working. So I believe that Jano and Demetrius are going to have some statements, and then we'll take your questions. Okay? That's how it's going to work. I'm going to stand by with the tech crew here, just saying goodbye to the council member. Ready? Here we go, folks. Heads up.
Okay. Listen, last night was a bad night for a lot of New Yorkers. 2 trains, 2 F trains, got stuck in the tunnels. Could you guys keep it down? Could you guys keep it down? Okay. Last night was a bad night for New Yorkers. At about 5:30, there was a substation fire / explosion that removed power from a big section of the system in Brooklyn, in downtown Brooklyn. And it affected the F train and the G train in particular. It affected, I think, the A and the C as well. We had 5 trains that were in the tunnel. We got 3 of them out of the tunnels. 2 were stuck. And there were 1,700 to 1,800 people. It was the height of the rush. There were 1,700 to 1,800 people on each of those trains, and they were stuck for roughly 2.5 hours. What we did is, first of all, we got 3 of the 5 trains out of the tunnel so people were able to evacuate normally through stations. When losing power, and in particular because some of the people on those trains started to self-evacuate, they left the trains and started to walk out on the roadbed and otherwise, it became more difficult to get the trains out of the station because obviously you can't activate the electricity, the third rail, when there are people who are moving around in the tunnels on their own. That created complexity, but we were able to safely evacuate all 3,500 people on those 2 trains by about 8:30. This is bad stuff. This is what you never want to happen to our riders. But we are investigating it with Con Ed together, exactly what the causal factors is. But there is something that's important to bear in mind, which is this is a 90-plus-year-old electrical facility that is exactly what we have identified as in urgent need of repair and investment. We have prioritized what we call state of good repair in making our investments in the next capital program because we have a 100-plus-year-old system, and many of the MTA leaders of the past have made important investments like new cars and fixing track, but they didn't get to a ton of the stuff that people don't see, and power is a huge issue. This substation electrical facility has been designated as one of the highest priority investments that we need to make sure the system does not erode and that people don't have this experience again and again. It is on the list of what we propose for the next MTA capital program, and we have prioritized fixing the existing system, what we call state of good repair, because it's urgent that we don't have episodes like this further that cause New Yorkers to be stranded. Now, subway service is much better than it's been in about a decade already, and we have avoided largely these kinds of episodes, but when they happen, it is terrible, and we have to make these investments. I said it before, you got a 100-plus-year-old system, stuff starts to fall apart. We cannot let this happen to our system, which is why we and the governor have proposed an MTA capital program that prioritizes fixing things that are not in a state of good repair, like this electrical facility that went out last night. So with that, let me turn it over to Demetrius Critchlow, the president in New York City Transit.
So, no question, a difficult night for our customers. Totally sympathetic to the travel and how it impacted customers throughout Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan. It was a difficult commute. First, I'd like to do is give thanks to the hundreds of employees who responded, both our internal employees who responded in a very difficult situation, multiple trains that were in power off, tackling the problem at hand, trying to identify what the issues were, coordinating firsthand with Con Edison. That communication was seamless and immediate. And then the responders from NYPD and FDNY. I mean, you have no idea how much effort it takes to evacuate 3,500 people from a train to go up an emergency exit. It is something that you don't want to see, but the fact that it was done without anyone being seriously harmed is amazing. The relationship between New York City Transit and Con Edison has been seamless. I've been on the phone with the head of Con Edison all last night up until this morning. My first call with him at 4 o'clock this morning, where we talked about, like, what do we know? How do we get things served? How do we get things back? And how do we get service restored for our customers? I think that one thing that we just cannot overstate, the 90% of the capital program is built to cover state of good repair. That's huge. It's specifically driven to fix things like this, to fix things so our customers don't have to experience these issues. The fact that our chairman has put the time and the team together to look at what are the most critical assets necessary to be able to perform the best. Our teams are going to do what's necessary to give service today and tomorrow, but next week, next year, we need real assets to be able to continue to run the system the way and give people the service that they actually deserve and that they're calling for. So we will do what we can do to continue to give our customer service today, and just really grateful for the efforts that were put forward over the last 8, 10, 12 hours to be able to get service back and running full service this morning.
All right, let's start the questions with Elijah Westbrook of CBS 2. Elijah.
Good morning to you guys. So my question is, what is your message to the thousands of New Yorkers who were stuck on those trains yesterday in downtown Brooklyn, that something like this won't occur again?
Look, I get it. On a train, it's cold, it's dark, but I will tell you one shining glimmer of light. The amount of Twitter messages that we got in relation to one of our conductors, Teresa Footman, who did an amazing job of walking the cars and comforting our customers and making sure that they were all staying safe under really, really difficult circumstances. Like, that's the caliber of employee we want to continue to embrace. And I think the reality is, even though it's a really, really difficult situation, we don't want any of our customers to ever experience that again. Our team always rises above when it's necessary to deliver, and we were there to provide this service this morning.
All right, Kendall Green is next with Fox, right?
Yes, sir. Hey, how's it going? Did Con Ed provide any intel that this scale problem won't occur again, as Elijah just mentioned? And what are some steps that we're taking within the short term to address it?
So I just want to be clear, the causal relation, what happened is still under investigation. So I don't want to, put it on Con Ed. There's no question, there's a 90-year-old electrical substation that had a fire and an explosion of some kind because the door was off the hinges. That speaks to the urgency of making the investments to the very old pieces of our system that we have identified. And we put this on the table in report after report, including a 500-page analysis of what needs to be fixed, and this was at the top of the list. So we are investigating with Con Ed the exact cause, but I don't want to put it on Con Ed. I want to acknowledge that there is at least a piece of the causation seems to be on a substation, electrical substation in the MTA system that should have been repaired and replaced decades ago.
All right, Steve Nesson from WNYC, you have a question on this?
Yeah. Hi, Jano. I appreciate that info, so I'm not going to ask you the same question again, and that too. But in regards to the residual problems this morning, Is that also related to rain from last night? There were signal issues, I guess, on the L line and maybe some other lines, and I heard reports at DeKalb that a piece of ceiling might have come off. I myself was stuck on the Manhattan Bridge for an hour this morning on an R train, but that was apparently brake issues, but it seems like there were residual issues this morning.
So I'll speak to the issue. So that issue in Brooklyn continued to be addressed by the teams until close to 4:30 this morning. They continued to work from late last night all the way into this morning to make sure that the system was ready to run for service. We're always going to have some things that the teams are responding to on a daily basis, but I don't think that's any indication of how much the team puts in maintaining the service that we have. Last night's incident is very different than what we experienced today.
So today is just normal delays? So today is just normal delays, is what you're saying?
I'm happy to talk through the specifics, but it's nowhere near what we had last night.
All right, anybody else? Great, thank you very much. Thank you both.